I never thought a single voicemail could shatter a man's world. It was 2:17 a.m., and the blue light of a second phone, a phone that wasn't mine, painted my face in the darkness of my home office. I was staring at a message my wife Sarah had left, but she hadn't left it for me. She thought she was calling her lover. The words she spoke into that phone were a poison arrow, and they found their mark right in the center of my heart. She was laughing, describing our life, our home, our bed, as a prison she couldn't wait to escape. I listened to it 3 times, the sound of her betrayal echoing in the silent house we built together. That single recording became my obsession, the ghost that would haunt her until the very end. This is the story of how I used her own words to dismantle her life, piece by painful piece. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my entire world. We met in Chicago, 2 kids fresh out of college trying to make sense of the big city. Our first apartment was a tiny walk-up in Lincoln Park, the kind where you could smell your neighbors cooking whether you wanted to or not. We were happy. We built a life, a real estate business together, brick by brick. I handled the acquisitions and renovations. She was the face of the company, the charming saleswoman who could sell a studio apartment like it was a penthouse on Park Avenue. Our business thrived, and we moved into a beautiful brownstone in the Gold Coast neighborhood. We had everything we'd ever dreamed of, or so I thought. The change was subtle at first. She started working late, client dinners that stretched past midnight. The scent of a cologne I didn't own would linger on her clothes. When I'd ask, her answers were smooth, practiced. "Oh, that's just David from the law firm. You know how he practically bathes in that stuff." She'd laugh it off, and I, trusting her completely, would laugh along with her. Then came the secrecy with her phone. It was always face down, always on silent. If I walked into a room while she was texting, she'd snap it shut like a startled clam. The warmth we shared turned into a polite, chilly distance. We were roommates living in a museum of our own marriage. She was cold, dismissive, and when I tried to talk about it, she'd flip it back on me. I was being insecure, paranoid, trying to control her. Her manipulation was a masterclass. She'd make me feel guilty for even suspecting her, for questioning the very foundation of our life together. The man she was seeing, I later found out, was Mark, a high-powered divorce attorney we'd networked with. The irony was sickening. They felt untouchable, laughing at me behind my back. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night. I was downstairs in my office, trying to reconcile our company's quarterly accounts. Sarah had told me she was having dinner with a new client at a steakhouse downtown, Gibson's Bar. Around 10 p.m., a credit card alert popped up on my computer screen. A charge for $200 at the Peninsula Hotel, just a few blocks from Gibson's. It wasn't the money. It was the lie. I felt the floor drop out from under me. I sat there, staring at the screen, my heart pounding in my ears. The man who loved his wife died in that office chair. In his place sat someone else, someone cold and methodical. The humiliation burned through me, but underneath it something harder began to form. Revenge. That night I didn't sleep. I began to dig. I created a fake social media profile and found Mark's public accounts. There they were, not even trying to hide it. A picture from a charity gala 2 weeks prior, Mark's arm around Sarah's waist, their heads close together, whispering. I went through our shared phone records, cross-referencing numbers she didn't have saved. Mark's number appeared dozens of times a day. Texts, calls, a constant stream of communication. She'd bought a second phone, a burner phone, but in her arrogance, she'd occasionally used our family plan to call him when the burner died. That was her first mistake. Her second was even bigger. I was home one afternoon when a package arrived, a small box from a phone carrier. I opened it. It was a new burner phone delivered to our home. She was that brazen. I activated it myself, linked it to a new email I created, and set it to forward all calls and messages to a cloud account. Then, I put it back in the box and left it for her to find. She took the bait. For the next 2 months, I lived a double life. By day, I was the clueless, slightly pathetic husband she was growing tired of. By night, I became a detective, gathering every piece of evidence I could. I had transcripts of their calls, copies of their texts, hotel receipts, Even photos from a private investigator I hired who caught them leaving a hotel in Miami during one of Sarah's business trips. The crown jewel was the voicemail. She'd called Mark from her burner, but her call went to his voicemail. She left a 3-minute message, a drunken, giggling confession of everything. She detailed how she was going to divorce me, how Mark had a plan to use his legal expertise to make sure she got the house, the business, everything. She called me pathetic, predictable, and weak. She laughed about how easy it was to lie to my face. Listening to it felt like swallowing glass, but I knew it was the weapon I needed. My plan had 3 stages. First, financial ruin. Second, social annihilation. Third, legal destruction. I secretly met with my own lawyer, a shark from a rival firm. We started quietly transferring my personal assets into protected trusts. I used my knowledge of our business to pinpoint properties and accounts that were primarily in my name or that I had sourced independently before our joint venture. I was surgically separating our empire without her even knowing. The final act took place at our annual company investor party, an event Sarah planned meticulously every year. It was her night to shine. We hosted it at the Art Institute of Chicago, a grand affair with over 200 of the city's most influential people. Sarah was radiant in a red dress, moving through the crowd, laughing, the perfect hostess. Mark was there, of course, standing smugly by her side. They thought they were the king and queen of the world. After the main course, I walked to the podium to give my traditional thank you speech. Sarah smiled at me, a fake practiced smile. I looked out at the crowd, took a deep breath, and began. Thank you all for coming. This company was built on a foundation of partnership and trust. But sometimes the foundations we build our lives on are nothing but lies. A murmur went through the room. Sarah's smile faltered. I looked directly at her. For the past 6 months, my wife and business partner Sarah has been having an affair with this man, Mark. I pointed directly at him. Gasps filled the hall. Mark went pale. Sarah's face was a mask of shock. But don't take my word for it, I said, pulling my phone from my pocket and connecting it to the venue's massive sound system. I think Sarah should tell you herself, and then I played it. The voicemail. Her voice, drunken and cruel, filled the silent, cavernous hall. Her laughter echoed off the marble walls as she detailed her plan to destroy me. She lost all expression. Her face went completely blank, her eyes wide with a horror so profound it was almost inhuman. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving behind a waxy, doll-like pallor. The crowd was frozen, listening to every toxic word. When the recording finished, the silence was deafening. No one moved. No one spoke. Sarah just stood there, a statue carved from shame. Mark tried to slip out the back, but all eyes were on him. His career in that city was over in those 3 minutes. The next day, my lawyer filed for divorce, presenting the mountain of evidence I had collected. She was exposed as a serial adulterer who conspired to commit fraud. The judge was not sympathetic. She lost the business. She lost the house. She lost her reputation. The legal and social traps had sprung shut perfectly. I haven't seen her since that night in court. I sold the brownstone and moved out of Chicago. Sometimes, late at night, I think about her face in that moment the music died. That look of absolute emptiness, the moment she realized she had lost everything because of her own arrogance. The ghost of her own voice laughing in that grand hall is the only justice I ever needed. The past is a quiet room you can never truly leave. It